Josh with the City of Waupaca. We are back again with another update on everything going on in the area. And we're going to start with some sad news. Most people have probably heard that Lori Chesnut passed away, and she was someone that was both on the city council, serving the city, the school board, and also spent years working for Health and Human Services, helping out many families, not only in the immediate area, but across the county. And, we want to share a little bit of information when services are and just some other thoughts around Lori.
Yeah, I'll jump right through the visitation, and then I have a couple of things I just want to share some thoughts. But just for those who knew Lori and who haven't heard, visitation is Friday, November 3rd, this week, from 3 to 7 at Holly's, and then the funeral service is at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and that starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday, November 4th. For us, for the city, and this is a unique thing, right? She loved service so much so that we're both talking about her as an elected official. For the city, she represented District 4, the 4th Ward, and she actually served multiple times, a total of 10 years, once in the 90s, and then really from 2015 to present. And the only reason that she really had that gap and why she left is because she moved out of the city, which she loved the city, but things changed for a little bit there. And if you move out of the city, you can't serve anymore. But I hesitate to say this because there's so many people that care about the city. But I have a tough time thinking of many people who cared as much about the city and the well-being of the city as Lori. So she was a pretty special person. We're certainly going to miss her, and we're going to celebrate her at the end of this week.
Yeah, I can concur with that, Aaron. I didn't get the opportunity to meet and know Lori until after she became on the school board. She just was elected in April, so I got to know her a little bit, and I could only say positive things. She was a sweetheart. She service oriented. She cared about our students in our district, and just so community minded. And my board president, Dale Felt, is a good friend of hers. And he was telling me that 30 years ago, he played Santa and she was Mrs. Claus. And so they've known each other for quite a while. And it's sad. It's hard when we lose good people like that. And so from the school district side, we're going to miss her as well. We do, Josh, have her position posted, and anybody that's interested to apply for this open board seat. We only have 7 board members. It's different than some councils that have 10, 11, 12 or whatever, but with 7 and having 6 left, we need to fill that. So anybody that's interested in board service can apply, and the announcement will be in the paper this week, both in the buyer's guide as well as the county post. And what the board does then, they'll review these applications and interview, and then select somebody to serve out the rest of this year. And then that person would have to go for election in the spring to finish the other 2 years after this year. It's a 3-year term.
Right. Perfect. Well, we'll miss Lori and appreciate the thoughts and kind of the sentiments you shared on her. Something coming up in December, the library is bringing a author in who will be having some community visit at the high school in December.
Yeah, this is neat. And we talk about collaborating all the time, and we do collaborate quite a bit. But this is a perfect example of our library staff who is incredibly passionate at providing opportunities for people in the Waupaca area, working with the school district staff to bring a well-known author, Angeline Bully, from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, right?
Yep, that's right.
That's right, up in your stomping grounds. And coming at the beginning of December, I believe, to the high school, Ron, and going to have a kind of a public presentation. You want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, so it'll be on December 5th at 6:30 at the high school. She'll be there. There'll be a book signing. I'm sure she'll have her books on hand. I know one of them is called The Firekeeper's Daughter. And, you know, Angeline is of Ojibwa descent, so she's a Native American, and she's talking about in this book her journey as she learned about the drug crisis that was ravaging through the Ojibwa community that she lived in. It deals with her mental health struggles and addiction in her friends, and so it's a very emotional book, very well written, and she's also authored several other books. I think she had one that came out earlier this spring called Warrior Girl Unearthed. So yeah, we're excited to have her here. We're excited with the collaboration from the city to get this grant to bring an author to Waupaca.
We'll keep talking about some more school stuff. We'll get into the budget a little bit. Ron, I know you want to speak on the mill rate and how everything's looking for the taxpayers of the school district.
Yeah, we just recently had our budget hearing on Tuesday, the 31st, on Halloween. The good news is that our mill rate went from 5.64 per thousand to 5.00. So it went down 64 cents per thousand. So that's the good thing. The interesting thing is that our property value, our equalized value, increased by 17.1%. So that's the property value within the whole school district of Waupaca. And so that increased. Our revenue limit, or actually, I'm sorry, our levy increased by about 400,000, which is the amount that we needed for the referendum that was passed in November of 22 for the remodel of the 4 entrances for our schools, the safety remodel. So our levy did increase by that amount, 400 approximately, and because of the 17% property valuation increase, that burden got passed around a little better and allowed us to lower our mill rate by 64 cents. So we're happy about that.
That's good news.
Josh, just so while we're talking about budgets, the city is also going through the budget process right now. Have had a multitude of budget workshops or committee of the whole meetings in which the council was able to look at different topics. We'll be talking about some specific topics again as a part of the council meeting this next Tuesday, specifically the debt service fund and the debt service portion of our levy. And then we're looking to hopefully pass a budget in the second meeting of November. You know, we know the mill rate's going to go down because our assessed value went up so much. You know, last time we had that revaluation was 15 years ago. So with that assessed value increase, that means it pushes that mill rate down by potentially over $2 for the city. However, that doesn't necessarily mean taxes go down. So that'll all depend on what the levy is. And that's what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks here.
Right. And then Ron, you had a couple other budget topics we wanted to specifically talk about. One of those is the private school voucher program and how that impacts the school district.
Yeah, that parent choice program, it was originated in the 2015-16 school year. It's called Act 55. And what it does is it increases our revenue limit to pay for students that whose parents choose to send them to a private school. So in that year, that first year we had $0 that were assessed. The next year we had over 15,000, and a couple years later it was 200,000, and a couple years later it was 500,000. Last year was $865,000. This year it's $1.2 million that our taxpayers are paying, and it goes to fund students attending private schools. So just pointing it out, our revenue limit increased this year, but all of that increase went to the Act 55, the charter school program. So the school of choice private school program.
And then another somewhat similar funding topic is you get declining enrollment exemption money. So that has to do with, if your population decreases over a period of time, that's some funding that comes in to help supplement it. And so there's some increase in your student population, which affects that funding as well.
Yeah, we've been going through declining enrollment for over a decade, longer than that. And one of the goals that I had working with Aaron and the chamber and collaborating and focusing on economic development and increased housing, which the city and Aaron have been able to accomplish. We had an increase this year of 22 students from the previous year. And according to the revenue limit, it goes on a 3-year rolling average. But this year, with the extra students and the 3-year rolling average, we were bumped up, which is good because we are funded based on the number of students that we have as one of the main variables. But the declining enrollment exemption decreased significantly. Last year, we had $377,000 as a declining enrollment exemption that we were able to have. This year, because of the extra students, we lost 330 of that. We only received 44,000 in the declining enrollment exemption. But as I was saying earlier, if after 3 years of this, it'll catch up for us, and it'll be, because it's based on a 3-year rolling average of the number of students that you have, we will be caught up in that 370 or 330 that we lost will exceed after we go through those 3 years. So hopefully this trend of increasing student enrollment will continue, and we'll be in better shape financially so that we can pay our teachers as competitive a wage as we can to attract and retain our good instructors that we have.
I think as we can see through these topics, the voucher program and the declining enrollment payments, every student certainly counts as far as the money coming in or out of the district to fund everything.
That is for sure. Every student counts, and it's approximately $11,000 a student brings in. Now, a new student, obviously, because the 3-year rolling average, it brings in a third of that. But after 3 years, it's full. When I was talking earlier about Act 55 and the revenue limit increases to cover those costs, when you add them up over the last 6 years, that's $3.8 million that the school district taxpayers have paid to cover the expenses of students that reside in our district but go elsewhere to private schools. So it's a significant chunk of change.
We're gonna move on. The pumpkin time at the Millers, tonight's the final night.
It is, and it's been the weather's been a roller coaster. Everything from early on when the pumpkins first got out, hot, kind of causing Jim to work harder at keeping them looking good and not molding, and then it got really cold and snowed on them. So get out here tonight if you haven't had a chance yet to do it. Hopefully people have over the weekend and over trick-or-treating maybe last night, but get out here tonight. It's your last chance to see. Jim we've talked about it a million times, he's super talented, and so are all of his carvers that help him. There's a ton of work and effort that go into it. I know that there's a donation box for the work of the carvers who do it on a volunteer basis. So come check it out. Come check out downtown Waupaca last night to do so.
And then, Ron, you got something exciting coming up. You got the 8-man football league coming to your school, Florence versus Oakfield. Tell us about that event.
Yeah, Rob Shear, our activities director, was contacted by the WIAA, and asked if we would be willing to host this playoff game. And it's kind of an honor because there's only 2 sites that were selected for this 8-man tournament, and we were one of them. So this Friday on November 3rd at 7 o'clock, we're going to have Oakfield and Florence facing off. It's really exciting football when you talk about 8-man football. I didn't know this. Rob was talking at Rotary this morning about it and how a lineman can go out for a pass. And, in traditional 11-man football, that isn't how it works. But these scores in 8-man football are high in the 70s, 60s, 70s. And so there's a lot of scoring. It's exciting. We're happy because it's going to bring 2,000 to 3,000 extra people from out of town to our community on Friday. And many of them potentially could stay the night in our hotels, and we'll be eating here and buying gas and that type of thing from our community. So it's a positive win-win for the school district and our community, and neat entertainment. If nobody's seen 8-man football, come on over Friday night, get a kick out of it, I think.
Well, Ron, Aaron, appreciate the time to get the community up to date, and we will talk again soon.
Thanks,
Have a
Josh.
good one, Josh.